ranking of Primeval Series 1. Yes, this is my first ever ranking of Primeval. So yes, I'm going to be ranking all 6 episodes of the first series in order of personal preference. So the list is subjective. It is based upon my personal opinions, so please respect my opinions, and if we disagree, we can agree to disagree. So, sorry about that, just needed to check something. The list is not entirely based upon what I've rated the episodes. So, it's gonna be my opinion, so, yes. Number 6. Now, just to get it out there, I don't think there is a bad episode in this series. I think there are some which aren't as good. They range from good to amazing, so, yeah. But I've put this one at the bottom simply because I don't think it has as much to offer as some of the others. So, with that in mind, number 6 is episode 5. Episode 5 is a good episode, don't get me wrong. But we don't really see enough of the pterodactyl. That's my problem. And they kind of force in the Cutter and Claudia love story, which is it's alright, I suppose, but we could have focused on other things. The absence of Lester is also a slight problem. I like the moments with Abby and Connor. I think they're really cool, and I like, the whole situation with Rex and how that causes tension with all the characters. And there's a lot of tension with the team. I mean, there's a great moment at the end when there's that big sense of camaraderie when they put the creature back through the anomaly, and then they're all cheering at the end. That was really nice. But episode 5, it's just solid. There's not much else to it. It's just a fun romp. Helen's appearance at the end is good. Acting is good. There's not really much to say about it. It's just a very basic episode, and it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable one. But for me, it's just, I used to really like it when I was younger, but now looking back on it, it's just probably the least interesting out of all of the episodes in the series. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very good. It's good for what it is. And I like, I like it, but I don't think it really offers very much. If you want the full thoughts, go to the review. But there we go. Now, number 5. I feel a little bit bad about putting this one so low. I mean, it's because it's the beginning. It's episode 1. I've put episode 1 at number 5 simply because I feel that the series immediately gets better. But episode 1 is great. It has a lot to offer. It throws you right into the the anomalies and the creatures, and it's the bringing of the team together. And it isn't really much more than that. It does it very well. It was the first time we'd ever seen the show, so in terms of what it has to offer, I feel that it delivers very well. I mean, there are problems with it. There are some grainy shots. The camera work isn't great. I mean, it's a shame, but the mystery is still very intriguing, and you're left wanting more. Each character is more or less developed, apart from Stephen. I really like Cutter and his sort of emotional struggle with trying to find Helen. But I mean, episode 1, it's not really anything more than just kind of, it's the establishing episode. It's bringing you in. There's elements of filler in there. They're just trying to fill up time to get you interested. They don't really get into the thickness of the story arc until obviously the later episodes, but it's a great episode. It's really enjoyable, and it's a great way to bring the team together. And I really enjoyed episode one for what it was. I really like Ben Miller. I think the acting's really good in the episode, apart from Stephen. I like the banter between the characters. It's all really good. You really get the sense that these people, the actors do a good job at bringing them to life. The writing is solid. It's nothing amazing. It's nothing terrible. It's just solid. So, yeah. Number 4. Again, this is a good one. It's kind of hard to rank these episodes because there's only 6 of them, and they each offer something really good. But I feel this one is here for good reason. Number 4 is episode 3. Episode 3 is really good. I really like it. I mean, it's quite bloated. They have a lot going on in this episode, and I don't think I really mentioned this in my review, that there is a lot going on here. I mean, I like the briskness of it, and that there's a lot of event attached to this episode. This is the halfway point of the series. However, at times it does get a bit overbearing, like there's a bit much going on, because one minute they're trying to find that creature, and then they deviate and go into that section of the house where there's another creature, and then it becomes about finding Helen, and then it gets a bit much for me. But it's still very enjoyable. I think the camera works better this time around. The acting's great. There's that great scene when Cutter is underwater and they're playing the variation of the theme, of the Primeval theme, the it's great. It's really good. I really like Douglas Henshall as Cutter. I think he really has made the character extremely likeable. I mean, he's trying to deal with this emotionally, and also he's trying, from a science perspective, this is, his field. He's trying to bear with this and trying to, get Lester off his back. Abby and Connor are good here. Stephen is just consistent throughout the series. I mean, he's neither great nor is he terrible. He's just, well, he is pretty terrible actually. I liked the beginning of the episode when the diver gets killed. It reminded me of that scene from Jurassic World with the Mosasaurus, I think, Mosasaur or whatever it was called, which is the same. It's the big sea dinosaur that you have in Jurassic World. It comes up and eats the person like that. They do the same in Primeval with that. Like, it comes into the swimming pool and attacks the diver. So yeah, and I really like episode 3, and I like the scenes with Helen as well. When Nick, this is the first time Nick has seen her in about 8 years, I believe. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting drama and dynamics coming into play here, and you can really tell that Helen has completely become, crazy. She's crazy. She wants to find the future, and she just wants to, change evolution. Nick, and obviously there's some tension between them because Nick is like, oh, I thought you were dead for all this time, so there's that to contend with. So there's quite a lot of drama, but yeah, Nick says they want him to go and find Helen, but they want him to go with military escorts. But he says, I'll go on one condition if I go on my own, and then if I fail, then if he fails, then they use force, which is what ends up ultimately happening. It's really exciting, and obviously at the end of the episode they capture Helen, so it's all building up to something, and it's very well played out. And Claudia is kind of there's elements of distrust with her and Nick. She's not really sure whether to trust him, because he lied about, Helen being alive. I mean, he was told at the end of episode 2 by Stephen that Helen was alive, so that obviously caused a lot of, stress on him. He like, oh, what am I to think of this? My wife is now alive. So, yeah, episode 3 is packed. It's a packed episode, but moves along, and it's a great, fun ride, and the CGI is great too. So, top 3. Halfway point of the list. So, number 3 is episode 2. Now, episode 2 is a great one. It's really good. It's quite dark, in the sense that they're going underground and looking for these scorpion things. I like the look of the scorpions and stuff. They look really cool and they look scary, and there's a lot of suspense with them as well. I really like the character moments here. I think that this is a funny episode. Abby and Connor are great, and I like the tension between Cutter and Connor. He basically kind of kicks him off the team, because he thought that he found an anomaly, but it was his two friends, Tom and Duncan, who were just basically messing around and, causing shit. So Connor is basically, he's kicked out of the team. So obviously, that's not nice for him. Yeah, and I like, the whole love triangle thing that they've got going on. Connor fancies Abby, and Abby fancies Stephen, and that doesn't really need to be there. It's not really necessary. They kind of drag it into episode 3 as well, and it's just not needed really. We really could have done without it. It's not a major issue. I can live with it, but yeah. But no, nevertheless, the CGI looks really cool. There's a lot of suspense with the episode. They do kind of drag it out a little bit towards the end, like with Stephen getting stung, going back for Cutter, and then them having to go back for Stephen, and then bringing Connor back in, and then they have to go and find, the antidote, and it just gets really kind of long and draggy. It gets a bit slow towards the end, which is a bit of a shame, but nonetheless, it's a great episode, and I put it at the halfway point of the list. It's really good, and Helen's cameo appearance at the end. You're still left with the intrigue and mystery from after episode 1. So, and I think it tops episode 1 as well, and it's thrilling as well. It's a thrilling episode. So, now the last 2. Now these 2 are really good ones. These 2 definitely stand out. If I had to be rid of the 4 episodes I've just talked about, and be stuck with these 2, if I had to choose one of them, I wouldn't be sure which one to choose. But I put them in this order for good reason. So number 2 is the finale of the series, episode 6. Episode 6 is a complete action fest. It is the all-out action episode of the series. It's epic. It's epic. And we're introduced to the future predators, so anomalies from the future, and the predators have come in and are attacking people. So I think this one is really fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's just exciting. And as a resolution to the series, it's good. I mean, the story is left on a cliffhanger, with, them creating. I like the kind of the way it ties into the first episode, them creating their own paradox, and then Claudia being erased from existence, which really leaves an interesting turn of events. Um, but I think it's well acted. I don't have many issues with it. I can't remember what I said in my review actually. In terms of problems. Yeah, there's not really much of an emotional kind of thing there. I mean, there's the love story between Cutter and Claudia, which is good. The music's really good and exciting. When the future Predator battles the Gorgonopsid, I believe it's that. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but when it battles that dinosaur, that is epic. And CGI is really cool. I liked seeing sort of the descent into madness of Helen. Like she was like, "Oh, come on, Nick, we can do this. We can find the future. We can change the future." She's become this, bitch. And obviously towards the end, she lays it on with Cutter that me and Stephen have been sleeping together. So his wife had been cheating on him for his best mate. So that's a bit awkward. And I mean, oh. That makes for quite an awkward scene. Although I do think Cutter's reaction is kind of underplayed. Like I think he should really lose it. Like he should flip the shit. I mean, if I found out that my wife had been sleeping with my best friend, naturally you would do that. You would. You wouldn't be like, oh okay, just don't do it again. You wouldn't say that. It's one of those things. It's kind of. It's essential that you wouldn't. It's kind of subconscious that you would react like that. You would. So that's quite funny. And then to follow it, you got his line. It was like, one thing I forgot about you, Helen. You could be a real bitch. So yeah, he calls her a bitch, and then she basically fucks off into the anomaly. So yeah, I won't see her till series 2. And then, yeah, I mean, the mystery at the end is really cool. I mean, I like also, the action is really great. And also when Cutter's shooting the glass and it's falling on the future Predator, that's really, really cool. Also, when Connor gets attacked in the car, that's really good. And when Abby saves his life. And I like the development of Abby and Connor's relationship. It's so good. It's so lovely. It's one of the best things about the show is the on-screen chemistry between the two of them is just brilliant. And they are the two best characters in the show, in my opinion. They are my favourite characters, they have the best on-screen chemistry of any of the cast throughout the 5 series. So, good for them. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not a masterpiece, but this episode is amazing for what it is, and I think it's a great end to the series. It gets you excited for series 2. Yeah, there's some great comedy too. So yeah, and of course, you knew this was going to happen. My favourite episode of Primeval Series 1 is episode 4. So, episode 4, this one is perfect. I love this episode. This was the only episode that I gave a 10 out of 10 to out of the entire series. I mean, it's just great. I love the story, like how the dodos come through the Helen. They start off with interrogating Helen, and then she lies to them and says, "Oh, unless you act within the next few hours, the pride of saber-toothed killers will be rampaging through London." So she basically warns them of an oncoming attack, which is apparently going to happen. So yeah, and then Nick, says, "Oh, Helen wouldn't lie to us. She would never do that." So he's still in denial about his wife. He still claims to know his wife in and out, but she obviously uses this as a chance to show them. She wants to show them where the anomaly is, so she uses it as basically a chance to escape, which she does. And the dodos come through and bite one of them falls into the hands of Connor's friends Tom and Duncan, and one bites Tom. And I loved seeing kind of, this is like probably one of the darkest episodes of the series, and it's great that the actor that plays Tom is really, really good. He does a great job of kind of, I mean, Tom becomes infected with this parasite, and it's kind of hosting off of him. I mean, until it kills him, it's lethal. You know, he's basically, it's an emotional struggle for him. It really is. I mean, and it's really sad at the end when Tom dies. That scene is excellently written, excellently acted by Angelique Potts, and the actor that plays Tom. It's fantastic, and the music as well is really, really good. I think it's one of the best episodes of the show altogether, really. I liked seeing the tension also between Cutter and Claudia. He's like, oh, you know, Helen would, she's many things, but she wouldn't do this. You know, he's still in denial about her, and Claudia's, and she's like, well, I've got Lester on my back, so, you know, look, Claudia's doesn't really know who to trust with this, so it's kind of hard for her as well. But yeah, it's a very sad episode. It puts emotional legs on the story, and it's the first time the audience realise, okay, this is quite serious. People are dying now. People are dying. This is getting very serious. And Connor has that moment of, you know, throwing in the towel. He's like, I can't do it anymore. My friend's died, you know. And Cutter, it's great, that moment at the end with Cutter and Connor, when he's like, you know, there's only a handful of people who know what we're grappling with. You're one of them. That would have made his day. He would have loved it, you know. You can't bail out on me now. So he basically encourages Connor to stay with the team. He's like, I need you, like, you know, otherwise, you know, well, hell might break loose. It's very sad, very well done, and for me it's the best of the series, because the plot is so engaging, the characters are really well done, past Stephen. Helen's scenes are great, and just the guy that plays Tom really did a great job at showing kind of this parasite is like tearing him apart, and you know, to see his struggle was a really good thing that they did. It's well directed. It's probably the best directed episode of the series, and it's my favourite. So that is that. That concludes my ranking of 6 episodes in Primeval Series 1. Now, I will just refresh my list for you in case you've forgotten. Number 6 is episode 5, number 5 is episode 1, number 4 is episode 3, number 3 is episode 2, number 2 is episode 6, and number 1 is episode 4. So, there we have it. That is my ranking of Primeval Series 1. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Put your comments down below, let me know. And next video, obviously, is going to be a review of Series 2, Episode 1. I'm going into the Series 2 reviews, which is awesome. I can't wait for that. And my review of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation will be up very soon. I am seeing that tonight, so, and I might see Fantastic Four. I don't know. I mean, I'm debating. I mean, I haven't heard good things about it. I mean, I'm debating whether or not to go and see it. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I'm Mr. Thomas11. See ya.